Welcome back to Revise and Resubmit, the podcast that takes, those really dense academic papers and makes them surprisingly interesting. I'm Pavlov.
And I'm Nikita.
Today we're going to try to get to the bottom of something that's been on a lot of people's minds lately.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, generative AI and what it means for critical thinking.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, can we actually become worse thinkers if we're relying on AI to do the heavy lifting?
It's like that old worry that calculators would make us bad at math, right?
Exactly. Will AI rot our brains?
Yeah.
So we're diving into a paper to try and figure this out.
Oh, cool.
It's brand new from ACM CHI 2025. And they surveyed a whole bunch of people.
Oh.
All different kinds of knowledge workers.
Yeah.
Artists, programmers, lawyers, you name it.
Interesting.
All of them use generative AI like ChatGPT at least once a week for work.
Wow. So this is real world stuff.
Yeah, and this paper actually tries to figure out how using these tools impacts how people think.
Okay, so not just are people using it, but how is it changing their thinking process?
Exactly.
Fascinating.
So first things first.
Yeah.
How did the researchers even define critical thinking?
That's a good question. They used something called Bloom's taxonomy.
Oh, yeah.
Which basically ranks how complex your thinking is.
I remember that from school.
Yeah, it goes from basic stuff like remembering a fact
Uh-huh.
all the way up to evaluating and judging information.
Oh, so remembering facts versus actually forming an opinion.
Exactly.
Okay, I see.
And what's cool is they connected each level to AI.
Oh, wow.
So remembering a specific ChatGPT command that would be basic knowledge, but deciding if the output is actually any good, that's the highest level evaluation.
So they have a way to actually measure it.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But did they find out how people are actually using AI in the real world? For work, I mean.
Yeah, well, they found people are using generative AI for a ton of different tasks.
Okay.
One person was using it to create artwork for their website.
Wow.
Another one was using it to write up a document for a client.
I bet someone used it to make their resume sound fancier. But did they just look at what people were doing, or did they actually go deeper into the thought process?
Oh, they went deeper for sure. They broke down how people use AI into 3 stages. And then looked at where critical thinking comes into play at each step.
Okay, so a step by step.
Right.
Okay, I'm all ears. What's the first stage?
So the first stage is called goal and query formation.
Okay.
Basically, before you even hit enter on that AI prompt, you need to think critically about what you're actually trying to achieve and how to ask the right questions.
Okay.
It's like planning your route before you go on a road trip.
So garbage in, garbage outright.
Exactly.
You don't put any thought into it at the beginning, you're not going to get good results.
Right.
Did this study have any real world examples of this happening?
Oh, yeah. There's this great story about a teacher who was using DALL-E.
Okay.
That AI that makes images.
Oh, yeah.
And she was using it for a presentation about hand washing. But she kept getting these pictures of hands under running water, but no soap dispenser.
Oh, no.
So she had to go back and refine the prompt to be more specific.
That's wild.
Yeah, it shows you really got to think it through.
Yeah, even before the AI does its thing.
Right.
You had to be clear about what you want.
Exactly.
Okay, so you've got your goal. You've written your awesome prompt.
Yep.
The AI does its magic. What happens next?
That brings us to stage 2.
Okay.
Inspecting the response.
Oh.
This is where you really have to be careful. You need to check the information, make sure it's accurate, and make sure there aren't any biases.
Oh, biases.
Or even weird stuff.
Weird stuff.
Yeah, you got to remember AI is trained on a ton of data.
Go ahead.
And that data can have biases in it.
Or
even just wrong information.
Oh, right.
And plus, AI can sometimes hallucinate.
Hold on, hallucinate.
Yeah, it's like when the AI gives you information that sounds totally real but is actually wrong or completely made up.
So it's like lying.
It's more like the AI is having a very convincing dream.
Wow, okay.
It can happen.
So we really can't just trust the AI. We had to double check.
Exactly. You got to do your research.
Fact check,
Yeah.
all that.
Think for yourself.
Did they have any examples of this in the study?
They did. There was this lawyer who was using ChatGPT for some legal research.
Okay.
The AI gave him some info.
Okay.
But the good lawyer, he double checked it.
Good.
He looked it up in a real legal database, and guess what?
What?
The AI was wrong.
Oh, no.
It happens.
That could have been bad.
Yeah, you can really get in trouble if you're not careful at this stage.
Okay, so this inspecting the response thing is crucial.
It is.
You can't just trust the AI blindly.
Definitely not.
Okay, so you've set your goals.
Yep.
The AI has given you the output. You've double-checked everything.
Right.
What's next?
That brings us to the final stage,
Okay.
integrating the response.
Okay.
This is where you decide what to actually use. Like what parts of the AI's answer you're going to use, how to mix it with your own style and knowledge,
Okay.
how to make it work for what you need.
So like the AI gives you the clay, but you're the artist.
Exactly. You get to sculpt it.
Though sometimes it feels like I'm being handed like a blob of abstract art and I'm trying to make a cat statue.
Yeah, sometimes it's not easy.
Right.
But it's about using your judgment to make the AI's output into something that actually works.
So we're not just like accepting what it gives us.
Nope.
We're changing it,
We're editing it.
making it our own.
Exactly.
Okay, did they have an example for this stage too?
Yeah. Yeah, there was this person who was using ChatGPT to write a paper,
Okay.
but they had to like edit it a lot to make it sound more academic.
Right, so they needed it to fit a certain style.
Exactly.
So it's like the AI was the rough draft. But the real thinking came when they were editing it.
Right.
Okay, so we have these three stages.
Yeah.
Setting goals, inspecting the output, and then like making it your own.
Exactly.
But did they find out if people are like overall getting better at thinking or worse?
That's the big question, right? And the results might surprise you.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we got to hear it.
Yeah, we'll get into that. So one of the most surprising things they found was that people who were more confident in AI were actually less likely to think critically.
Wait, really? I feel like I would be more skeptical if I knew it could just make stuff up.
I know, right? You'd think you'd be more careful.
Yeah, like maybe they were just using it for easier stuff.
Yeah, the researchers thought of that too.
Okay.
But they took that into account and the pattern was still there. It seems like when people think the AI is really smart, they just sort of accept what it says without questioning it.
So they're like, oh, the AI is so smart, it must be right.
Exactly.
I don't even need to think about it. So it's like they stop thinking for themselves.
It seems that way. They become more like passive consumers of information instead of like active thinkers.
Wow.
But get this. The more confident someone was in their own ability to do the task, the more likely they were to think critically when using AI.
So it's not like you have to reject AI altogether.
No, not at all.
But you should approach it with like a healthy dose of skepticism.
Exactly.
Okay. And confidence in your own skills.
Right.
Did they find out anything about like, is AI changing the types of critical thinking skills we need?
Yeah, they found some cool stuff about that too.
Okay.
So like for tasks involving knowledge and comprehension.
So like understanding information.
Exactly. The effort shifts from finding that information to verifying it.
That makes sense.
Right.
The AI can give you a ton of information really fast.
Right, like in seconds.
Stuff that would take forever to find on your own.
Exactly.
But then you have to like actually go through it all.
Right, you got to check the sources.
Make sure it's legit.
Yeah, make sure it's accurate and relevant to what you're doing.
Oh, there was that market research example in the study
Oh, yeah.
where they used ChatGPT to like get all this data.
Yep. And it took like no time at all.
But then they had to spend time going through it and making sure it was good.
Exactly.
So it's like AI is a super powered research assistant.
Yeah, something like that.
But you still need a human to be the editor.
They need that critical eye.
Okay, so what about when you're not just trying to understand the information?
Right.
What about when you have to actually use it to solve a problem?
So that's like applying knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay, so for that, AI shifts the effort from solving the problem yourself to integrating and adapting the AI's solution.
So it's like you can't just take the AI's answer and run with it.
Yeah, you have to think about how it fits into what you're doing.
And make changes if you need to.
Exactly.
Right, like that person who had to rewrite the blog post the AI wrote.
Right, because it wasn't quite right for their needs. They had to use their own judgment to make it work.
So AI is changing the game for sure.
It is.
But it's not eliminating the need for critical thinking.
Nope, not at all.
It's more like it's shifting the focus.
Exactly.
Okay, what about those higher level skills?
Oh, like analysis, synthesis, evaluation.
Yeah, those ones.
So for those, the researchers found something they call stewardship.
Stewardship.
Yeah, it's like AI shifts the effort from actually doing the task to overseeing it.
Interesting.
Right.
It's like you're managing the AI
Exactly.
instead of just using it.
You're directing its efforts, you're giving it feedback.
You're making sure it's doing a good job.
Exactly. Like you're the conductor of an orchestra.
I love that. So instead of worrying about AI replacing us, we should be focusing on becoming good AI stewards.
Exactly.
Did they have any examples of this stewardship thing?
Oh, yeah. Remember that example of someone using ChatGPT to write a Slack message? The AI helped them figure out what to say, but the person was still in charge. Right.
They had to make sure the message was good.
So even for complex stuff, we're not just turning our brains off.
Not at all.
We're still in the driver's seat.
Exactly. It's more like AI is giving us a cognitive upgrade.
I like that. We're still the ones thinking,
Yes.
but we have this powerful tool to help us.
That's a great way to put it.
This is all super fascinating, but I'm starting to think about the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Like, if AI is going to change how we think, shouldn't we be preparing for that?
Oh, absolutely.
Especially when it comes to education and training.
That's a really important question, and it's something the study doesn't really address.
Yeah, I mean, if we know AI is going to change how we think critically,
Right.
shouldn't we be, like, changing how we teach to prepare people?
I think so, for sure.
It feels like AI literacy is going to be essential, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, learning to read was in the past.
Totally.
But how do we even teach that?
That's a tough one. I think it starts with encouraging kids to be curious.
And to think critically from a really young age.
All right.
So not just teaching them, like, how to use the AI tools,
Yeah.
but, like, how they work.
Oh, so like what's going on under the hood?
Yeah, and what are their limitations? What could go wrong?
So it's not about teaching them code or like how to use a specific program.
Right. It's more about the big picture.
Oh, so like what AI even is.
Exactly.
And how it thinks.
And how it could impact the world.
Okay, so we want them to understand AI. Not just use it.
Exactly.
And that goes for adults too, right?
Yeah.
Like in workplaces.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We should focus on teaching people those broader critical thinking skills.
Yeah. The ones that can be applied to any situation.
Not just how to use one specific AI for one specific task.
Right. Like instead of teaching someone how to use ChatGPT for marketing, teach them how to figure out if any AI-generated content is good or not.
Regardless of what AI it is or what they're using it for.
Right. Because those skills will always be valuable.
Yeah, no matter how much the tech changes.
Exactly. So it's like we're giving them a toolkit for thinking about AI,
Yeah.
not just instructions for one tool.
That's a great way to put it.
But that toolkit also needs skepticism.
For sure.
Like, we need to teach people not to just accept what the AI says.
Right.
Remember, the study found that being confident in the AI actually made people less likely to think critically.
Oh, yeah. It's a good point.
So are we saying we should teach people to be, like, less trusting of AI?
I think it's more about informed skepticism.
Okay.
Like understanding that AI is powerful, but it's still just a tool.
Okay.
It was made by humans.
Right.
So it can have biases.
Yeah.
It can make mistakes.
So we got to approach AI with a critical eye,
Yeah, basically.
knowing when to trust it, when to question it.
Exactly.
And that's a skill that's useful for, like, everything, right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Not just AI.
Especially these days when there's so much information everywhere.
Right.
Knowing what to trust is more important than ever.
So AI is like making us step up our game when it comes to critical thinking.
Yeah, basically.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing, right?
Not at all. AI is an incredible tool.
Yeah.
It can help us learn, solve problems, be more creative.
Right.
But we just have to be smart about how we use it.
This has been such a good deep dive.
Yeah, this was a good one.
We've talked about how people are actually using AI, how it's changing how we think, even like what it means for the future of work and education.
Big stuff.
What are some like key things you want people to remember?
Well, first, AI isn't this like magical thing that's going to fix everything or ruin everything. It's just a tool.
Right.
And it's up to us to use it wisely.
So it's not AI versus humans.
No, it's AI and humans.
They're working together.
Exactly. AI can help us be smarter, more creative, solve big problems.
Right.
But we have to be in control.
Awesome. Well, that's all the time we have for today.
Wow, that went by fast.
And don't forget to subscribe to Revise and Resubmit on Spotify and Apple Podcasts for more captivating deep dives like this one. And if you're enjoying the show and want to support us in creating more insightful content, consider becoming a patron on Patreon. Every contribution helps us continue this journey of exploration and discovery. Until next time, keep those minds curious, keep questioning, and keep revising and resubmitting.